Hello and welcome to Forex.Academy, your #1 website for Forex and crypto education and analysis. In today's edition, we're going to be discussing, are we about to become embroiled in a black swan event? A financial black swan event is usually a catastrophic event such as the Japanese earthquake and tsunami of March 2011, such as the SARS epidemic in 2002 to 2003, avian flu, or the Ebola outbreak in West Africa in February 2014. None of which can be predicted, but they do have potentially severe consequences for global economy. Black swan events are characterized by their extreme rarity and severe impact and the overall failure of analysts to predict them. Right now, of course, we are in the midst of the coronavirus, or COVID-19, to use its formal name. There is a lot of chatter going around that this could turn out to be a major black swan event, which could severely impact the global economy. During the 2003-2004 SARS epidemic, the S&P tumbled 14% over the span of 2 months from mid-January to mid-March. While all of this was recovered in the subsequent 2 months, the avian flu crisis in 2006 wiped 11.6% of the S&P 500, and again this was shortly recovered. The Ebola crisis in March 2014 saw a 5.33% knocked off the S&P 500, and again this was also shortly recovered after the epidemic. Based on this, history tells us that the markets are prone to short jolts during such event, but they go on to recover and in many cases make further gains than were lost. This leads us to the coronavirus, which began in January 2020, and no sooner had the ink dried on the China and US Phase 1 trade deal. Initially there was a spike lower in global equities when the virus began to take hold, and where typically safe haven currencies such as the yen and Swiss franc were bought along with gold. Oil was also sold off due to a possible economic slowdown as traders opted for risk off. However, traders have returned to the equity markets, where the Dow Jones and the US indices have surged to record highs. They seem to have shrugged off this event or are looking at the long-term picture. And while the yen is acting as somewhat of a barometer when good or bad news is coming out of China, the Swiss franc has generally been sold off, while the US dollar is surging in strength, such as the strength of the US economy. While this particular virus has many unknown aspects to it, and where any potential cure could be over a year away, we find ourselves in a situation where no economic data is yet available to confirm the impact of the virus of the Chinese economy, and where nearly 20% of this makes up for a global gross domestic product. Also, the Chinese government has committed to honouring the trade pact with the rest of their partners across the globe, and when they tell us the gross domestic product will only be very marginally affected, and they remain extremely proactive in trying to control the virus. All of this, and where the US economy is much stronger than the previous epidemics, and where the Fed's members maintain that any impact to the US economy would be restricted to around 0.3%, we can only determine that at the moment there is not enough information to cause a black swan event, but we will look to this again in part 2 as things progress. If you enjoyed the video, then please like and subscribe, and leave a comment down below about anything you would like us to discuss in future, or if you have any questions about this particular video. Have a great day.